It can be really difficult when you still have unsupportive people in your life. There may be older members of the family or for whatever reason. I just try not to take it personally anymore because what they think and what they say doesn't really matter. Unless they're saying things very openly in front of you that's offensive in your child, like that's different, and that's when you need to sort of draw a line in the sand.
A lot of the time, I think people are just trying to reassure you that everything's okay and, it's fine and they'll be okay. And I think you can agree with them. Yeah, everything will be okay. But if we don't understand where this little person's coming from and what's going on for them, then we won't be able to move forward. We won't be able to create that life for them. So it's important that I understand this child, and the diagnosis is part of me being able to understand who they are and how I can help them.
So once your child has a diagnosis of autism, some people might find that their extended family aren't quite so on board with that they might be in a bit of denial. In fact, some parents are in denial even when they get the diagnosis of autism. It takes a while to reach a point of acceptance so you can get on with it. And so I think if you're struggling with your family who are not accepting that diagnosis, it's probably well-meaning. It's like you were. They're just taking a little bit longer to get through their denial. Maybe provide them with information and give them time to get used to the idea, and they'll hopefully come on board and be a great help to you, ideally, in the future.
So depending on who the person was in my life that was unsupportive, that's how I sort of dealt with it. So loved ones who are very close, I would give them a couple of chances to come round and be supportive and accept that this was happening and that I was open about my son's autism diagnosis. Eventually, if they're not going to get it, they're not going to get it. And I didn't want to waste my energy trying to convince anybody of anything. I was in this stark new reality, this stark new world. I very quickly learned who could be convinced, who could be brought along for the ride, who just needed some time to process themselves because they were worried about me and my child, and those who just didn't get it, never will get it, and as a result probably would have caused damage had they stayed in my inner circle.
They're actually just scared often. And it comes across as them being unhelpful or aggressive or rude. But sometimes they're just scared of what they don't know. Everyone has a story in their head. And I guess it's about delicately challenging that story when you can.
So you're going to come across situations when you're in the shopping centre, when you're at the shops, when you're at the movie theatre, when things don't go well. And you'll get the person who hisses and toots or makes a comment about that kid over there. You got to understand it's their problem, right? It's their lack of understanding or lack of familiarity. It's a defense mechanism for them to just sort of put it out as something that's annoying them, and it's an easy way to label it. But don't be embarrassed by that. At the end of the day, they come and go.
You will come across people who don't understand and are not supportive, and Alice and I think about walking the kids down the street and running into other people and they're going, I'm not sure if it's autism, they're just naughty kids, and so there's people everywhere who don't understand and probably don't want to understand, and you've got to focus on the kids and what you need, not what they think.
Yeah. There's been quite a lot of unpleasant incidents, and I can recall where we've been publicly humiliated and things have been said that you would never say to a small child and their parent. And they really hurt and they stick with you. But one day it was just all too much and I sat down and I realised for every one stupid, shallow, simple person like that, there's another 10 that really care and are really, really good. And what you've got to do, his favourite artwork is called Always Look on the Bright Side. And that's where you've got to walk. You've got to find those good people and you've got to stay with them. And you've got to remember that those awful people, and there are some out there, you're never going to see them again. They don't matter.
Occasionally you still will meet people for whom that they've got some sort of axe to grind where they want to let you know that their behavioural expectations haven't been met at the supermarket because of this incident, or at the restaurant, or a cinema, or something like that. And those people will always be there. It's getting less and less over time, I've found. My wife had a situation where someone came up into her in a supermarket and gave her $5. and said, here's $5, you know, you look like you've got your hands full. And so Helen went, thank you.
Yeah, so there's supportive people as well. You know, I remember Ollie had a meltdown in a shopping centre and threw a drink up into the air, and it went everywhere. And then this lovely young man came out and just, you know, wanted to help. You could see, he could read the situation where instead of looking, he took action. And I think about that myself when I see people in public now, you know, trying to help rather than ignore it. But you've got to respect that people want help too. So that's always gauged that quickly. Not everybody wants help.
Showing is better than telling. I think people don't like being lectured to. It's hard, but lead by example. Try and stay positive. Try and stay focused on the people in your life that bring positivity and good and support and encouragement, and try and avoid those that don't, if possible.
There's a whole range of really unhelpful people out there that don't understand autism, and autism is something you also can't see. So oftentimes people can be really judgy, and that is really upsetting for you as the parent. But over time, it really becomes a case of, you know, gird your loins. You'll be fine. You'll get a tougher skin. You'll understand that people have got stuff going on in their life. You don't judge them. They shouldn't judge you. Move along. You're too busy looking good. Don't worry about people who are judgy. They don't understand you and your family and where you're at right now. And the more you let those people get in your head, it has a negative effect on your mental health. And your mental health needs to be really good because you are the project manager of this child. So look after yourself.